Recording.
Good afternoon, my students. Today we are going to discuss the topic about process and methods. The first one is about the domain of style. The word style refers to the way in which language is used in a given context by a given person for a given purpose and so on. To clarify this, we may adopt the Swiss linguist Saussure distinction between langue and parole. Langue being the code or system of rules common to speakers of a language, such as English, while parole being the particular uses of this system or selection from the system the speakers or writers make on this or that occasion. The second one is about English expression belonging styles. Certain English expression belong to the official style of weather forecasting. For example, bright intervals, scattered showers, etc. While others expression, for example, lovely day, a bit chilly, etc., belong to the style of everyday conversational remarks about the weather. Style then pertains to parole. It is selection from a total linguistic repertoire that constitute a style. And then we will talk about the stylistic. Stylistic, simply defined as the study of style, especially in linguistics, is rarely undertaken for its own sake, simply as an exercise in describing what use is made of language. In stylistics, there is a problem to relate critics' concern of aesthetic appreciation with linguists' concern of linguistic description. The task of stylistic is to provide a hard and fast technology of analysis, which is not the case, the goal of explaining the relation between language and artistic function. The image used by Spitzer of the philological circle, the circle of understanding, is more appropriate. Next, we will talk about style and content. There is a strong tradition of thought which restricts style to those choices which are choices of manner rather than method, of expression rather than content. Some such separation is implied in common definition of style as a way of writing or a mode of expression. This approach may be called dualist because it rests on an assumed dualism in language between form and meaning. Next, style as the dress of thought, one kind of dualism. The distinction between what a writer has to say and how it is presented to the reader underlies one of the earliest and most persistent concepts of style, that of style as the dress of thought. The style as the dress of thought as metaphor of style as some kind of adornment or covering of thought or meaning. The adornment theory was first appeared in Renaissance and rationalist pronouncement on style and is implicit, for example, in Pope's well-known definition of wit. The appropriateness of adornment theory cannot be altogether dismissed in the case of artificial style cultivated by such Renaissance mannerists as Sidney and Lilly. Take part of Lilly's description of his hero as style in Fiction 14, the beginning of Eupuis, which deserved our attention as the first novel in English. And then we are going to discuss or talk about style as manner of expression, another kind of dualism. The contrast between dualism and monism as presented in figure below. As you can see, dualism from the choices of content produces contents, while monism, choices of expression mean choices of content becomes, okay, nothing. While in dualism, choices of expression in style produces or gives the form itself. From this distinction, we can find out that dualism brings the content itself, and finally brings the form, while monism only triggered by the choices of expression or choices of content. Next, dualists and monists. The dualists hold that there can be different ways of conveying the same content. The monists hold that this is a mystic and that any alteration of form entails a change of content. The dualist gains credence from the everyday use of the word style as a manner of doing something, as reflected in dictionary definition, and as applied outside language to other art forms such as music, painting, and architecture, and to varied activities such as playing the piano or playing tennis. In such activities, there are assumed to be some invariant elements which have to be performed. For example, conforming to the rules of tennis, but that there are variant ways in which the individual may perform them. For example, in choice of backhands, forehands, volleys. Such an analogy is used by Richard Hoffman, a modern apostle of dualism. Next, we will discuss about pluralism in analyzing style in terms of function. According to the pluralists, language performs a number of different functions, and any piece of language is likely to be the result of choices made on different functional levels. Hence, the pluralist is not content with the dualist division between expression and content. He wants to distinguish various strands of meaning according to the various functions. The pluralist adds the idea that language is intrinsically multifunctional, so that even the simplest utterance conveys more than one kind of meaning. For example, is your father feeling better? May be simultaneously referential or referring to a person and his illness, directive or demanding a reply from the hearer, and social or maintaining a bond of sympathy between speaker and hearer. And the last one, the discussion is about a multi-level of approach to style. The dualist captures the insight that two pieces of language can be seen as alternative ways of saying the same thing. That is, that there can be stylistic variants with different stylistic values. There are two kinds of stylistic variants, variant conceptualization and variant expression, which are figured out below. As you can see that there are two kinds of stylistic variant. On my left-hand side is called variant of conceptualization, while on my right-hand side is called variant of expression. In variant of conceptualization, there is a fiction that brings the sense, while in variant of expression, there is a sense that brings or produces surface in the form of syntax. That's the distinction between variant conceptualization and variant expression. Well, I think that's all about our presentation today. Next is your turn to do the focus group discussion about some question related to the topic being discussed. Time is yours. Thank you very much.